Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your podcast host here in Central Texas with Action Coach. And today we have Bjarne Hauge, founder and CEO of My Trailer, as my guest. We're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business leadership, challenges, and best practices he's learned along the way to give you a sneak peek to what it's like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this one. Well, welcome, Bjarne. It is so nice to have you on the show today. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be invited into something like this.
Yes, well, I'd love to give a brief about yourself and tell us a little bit about my trailer.
Well, first off, as most people can hear, I got a little bit of an accent, and I typically say Birmingham, Alabama, but I can't really hide it. I'm originally from Denmark, and I came to the US in 2008. And when I got here, I only had one thing in mind, and that was to start up a business. So we started a business, ran that for 10 years until we did an exit around 2021, I believe. And shortly after that, I came up with this new idea called My Trailer. And the idea simply came from the fact that I have a very large enclosed car trailer, and it was sitting on a storage facility lot, and I kept passing it almost 2, 3 times a week, and I was like, why should I spend $130 a month on parking that trailer right there? I need to rent it out. And then I realized, well, there's not really any decent places where you can go in, upload your trailer, and rent it out and make sure who shows up is there, etc., etc. There's Facebook Marketplace, there's Craigslist, but they're not known to be very secure and structured about what we are doing. So there you have it. That was kind of my key to invent My Trailer. And in that thought process, I called my former developer who built my former company and say, hey, I got an idea, and this time I want you to be partner. And here we are today. We're still a startup, but we're running it. We're renting trailers, and hopefully it's going to grow and grow and grow. And hopefully down the road, we do another exit.
Wow, that is incredible. It's cool to hear where the inspiration sparked from. And so I'd like to dive right in, talk a little bit about what's your day-to-day look like in the business? Are you mostly in the business or on the business? What's that kind of look like for you?
Well, as a lot of founders probably can recognize, if you're really into it, you're into it 24/7. And obviously that means that maybe from 1 to 2 o'clock in the middle of the day, I do something completely different just to clear my head. But if the
Yes.
phone rings at 10 o'clock at night, I'm on it. I'm not going to let anything go. Um, but for the most part, since we are a startup, I'm still trying to make a lot of see if I can find some partnerships, make some connections, doing some sales. Since it's a small company, we carry a lot of hats. So I do
Mm,
marketing, I do video, I do sales. I even do concierge service for the trailer owners that actually need some help. They might be out of
mhm.
town, whatnot. I'll drive out there and help them hook up a trailer if it's rented out. There's a ton of small stuff, and obviously I would like to free all that up so I can focus on my job as a CEO. But that's not today, it's not tomorrow, but I'm hopeful it's soon around the corner where we can start to see some really impressive growth. And so that's basically my day to day.
Sounds like a busy day for sure. And do you have any other partners or team members that help you on this
Yes,
business?
so it's the company's own 50/50 pretty much. It's a C corporation, obviously out of Delaware, and my co-founder Gabriel, he's been in tech for the last 20, 25 years. He used to own a development company out in San Diego, and over the last 10 years, we as in my former company, we have used him for all our development. So, I formed a very good relationship. I used to be the CTO and directed everything. And now, finally, I have a team member that can carry that burden of putting up a business these days. You almost have to, unless you do something a little more hands-on, like painting or whatnot. But it's been a tremendous help. So if there's something wrong, well, we can address it instantly.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
great. And how many team members did you say you had, or?
So there's the two of us, and then we have a part-time salesperson, and then we got an advisor down in New Orleans as well, who's coming on as a co-founder pretty soon.
Oh, great.
So, yeah. So 2 full-time, a part-time, and a little less than a part-time member for now.
Wonderful. Well, I'd love to like kind of talk about what makes your business so special. I know you talked briefly about the business, but if I were in your audience, how would I know I'd be a great fit for your services?
Well, it's a marketplace, so there's two sides of the same case. We cater to people that obviously want to rent a trailer, and we cater to people that owns a trailer. And I've done a couple of tests myself. I'm taking my dog for a walk. I live in North Austin. Walking down the street, counting all the trailers I can see behind the fence or whatnot in people's driveway. And I've been out also hanging flyers on them. So, and some of them have actually become trailers for rent now on the platform. So that's one part of it. And I would not say it's easy to get them, but it's a little harder to get the renters. And it's one of the things that we really run into is how do you build trust for a marketplace? How do you get the knowledge out? Because there's a lot of people that need to know about us. And when you're bootstrapping, you don't have that marketing budget that you just dream about. But we're hopeful that eventually will come so we can really pull it through. So we're using Facebook, Craigslist, LinkedIn, you name it, going to small car shows, having booths at small expos, whatever we can get our hands up that is kind of within our means. That's how we're trying to grab people. And we can see a lot of the people that has been inside now and renting a trailer from one of our trailer owners. Well, they actually come back the second time, the third time. And I think within the last half year, the record is probably 8-time rental for one user, which we would like to see a lot of those, but eventually there will be. But I'm very happy to see that kind of results coming in already this early.
Oh, that is really good. That's really good to know. You're building that rapport. And have you found that any one of those marketing tactics is like standing out, or are you finding like across the board that they're more equal?
Across the board, they're somewhat equal. We haven't really found that one thing that really stands out. It looks to be a little bit that videos kind of do quite a bit of impressions compared to a lot of other stuff. But what drives most traffic now to our business is simply Google AdWords, and they're working. They're not cheap, but they certainly are working. We're working on something in the back end with we partnered up with a company called Flare AI, and I don't know if you're familiar with them. I would I would almost let my tech guy explain what they are doing, but they they go into the back end of the website and trying to generate a lot of backlinks and a lot of posts, a lot of blog posts generated by AI, and they can kind of within 24 hours they can turn around and follow the new guidelines from Google, etc. And it's a local, fairly new company here in Austin as well. We just plugged that in, so it would take me 3 to 4 months, I will guess, before I can give you any results on that. But their business model really suits ours. So they say if we can't get any business from them, well, then we don't really have to pay them much either. So as a bootstrap company, we're certainly willing to try stuff like that.
Oh, wow. Well, that's super cool that you're, innovating and trying new tactics. And I kind of want to bring the conversation to a little bit more about you and dive in about your why. And so, when you started out, what inspired you to go into business for yourself instead of working for somebody else? And what was that transition like for you?
Well, that comes to show I'm 51 years old. I don't talk loudly about that, but I've always in my entire life been an entrepreneur. Obviously, I've had jobs, etc. But years ago, I was actually teaching 3D animation and at a pretty high level, and I found that very interesting. I've been around different kind of things, but I ran into a student of mine, a very nice guy, that he had one thing in his pipeline was, I want to be self-employed before 40. And I heard that before I was 30. So I was like, yep, that sounds like a plan. So in 2008, when I moved to the US with my wife, I was of the opinion, I'm not going to take a corporate America job. As I mentioned, I'm from Denmark, and we got a little bit more vacation time and other kind of freedom when in your work life, and I was not ready to just jump full on. So I just started out. They start a company, and this time it's going to be full time all the way through. And yeah, I've been self-employed since the last 17 years at least.
Okay, that
Yeah.
is super cool to know. Because I'm always curious about like how business owners get going in their journey. And so thank you for sharing about that. Kind of like diving into a little bit about you and your leadership style, like as you're building your team, as you're growing, what would you say, how would you describe your leadership style?
Uh, I prefer straight up a flat structure in the company. My last company, we probably had, I would say, around 8 to 10 employees sitting in the office with us. And for me, I, I certainly would like to hire somebody that I can trust 100% and just throw the ball and say, hey, grab it, move along with it. I'm not that kind of leader that constantly have to go over and tell somebody, hey, now you got to do this, you got to do that. I
Mhm.
absolutely would like to. And if somebody have a question about something, I certainly do that 100%. But I also like people to be self-driven. And if you can manage to get all that incorporated, then you can have somewhat of a fat structure. I don't feel like running around and say, hey, I'm the CEO. You got to do what I have to tell you. In certain cases, obviously, you will have to come up with an answer and say, hey, this is how it has to be. But within the means of the company, so we're trying to see if we can get a corporate structure and mentality where everybody feels, I like people to feel home when they come to work, because I certainly like that myself. And I'm not afraid of driving all the way to the other end of town, which I've done a ton of town and times, and pick up lunch because this is something I really like. Then I hope the other people also like it. That kind of stuff. It's just small gifts that just make everybody happy and can sit down and enjoy together for 20 minutes or a good chit chat, whatever. And if people want a day off, they need it for whatever various reason. I'm not gonna sit and look at my calendar. Oh no, you can't because you have a phone call or something like that. So yeah, a flat structure. That's how we are trying to structure it.
Oh, definitely. That's super cool. And kind of looking forward at the future of your business, where do you see yourself going in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, hopefully we are starting here in Texas, so hopefully within 5 years we should be nationwide. Hopefully somewhat within the next 3 years as well. Obviously, that leads me into we are very actively looking for funding right now, and it's kind of hard to find funding depending a little bit. If you don't have AI, you're a little bit behind. That's kind of the feeling I get when I'm out there talking with other entrepreneurs. But eventually things are working, but we certainly need something radical to happen soon, so we can really enjoy the growth that we have and speed that up and start hiring people and make this into a bigger company. So 3 to 5 years, especially 5, 6, 7 years, I would say that's the target for an exit. Especially if we get funding, the investors would like to see something like that, and that's what we are aiming at. And we're just looking forward to turn that key where now we can really, really speed things up and get a little bit away from the bootstrapping and just systemize things and get it going. I just
Definitely.
work. That's the plan.
Oh, I hear you there. Well, this has
Yeah.
been such a great conversation. Thank you for sharing this. I'd like to dive into a fun part of the conversation, our rapid fire questions, which is
Uh-oh.
it's going to be so much fun. It's 4 questions that we ask you, and you answer top of mind and first thing that comes to mind. So, are you ready for some rapid fire?
As ready as I will be, for sure.
Wonderful. First question is, what is the key to success for you?
The key to success for me, one thing I've learned over the last 15 years is always take advice from smarter people. Don't think that you can do everything yourself, because some people might be able to pull it off. I certainly can't. And it's like going to school, if you get stopped somewhere, just ask the teacher. The teacher can help you a step further. And if you want to escalate and you want to grow faster, just get out there, get an advisor, get an advisory board, and just have them pour all their knowledge on you. I guarantee everybody will learn so much if they do that. And there is nothing to be ashamed of to say, hey, I don't know anything about anything, but teach me. That really works.
Oh, that is so true. And so our second question is, what is a piece of advice you have for other business owners?
Stick with it.
Mm.
Don't stop. I know it's rough. I mean, do you have to get a second job? Do you need to do things like that? But if you keep believing in it and you keep pushing it, it can take half a year, it can take a year, it can take 5 years. And one piece of advice too is read a book that's called Get Backed. I can't recall who wrote it, but it's very interesting. And there's samples of companies that took 7 years to get launched, but then when they finally launched, everything was in place. But
Mhm.
you really just gotta stick with it, keep focusing. And when we have meetings, it, sometimes it happens, especially with salespeople. Oh, we can also do this, we can also do that. And that's where I put the CEO hat on a little bit. Say, hey,
Mhm.
let's just get this one part going for now, and then we can start to expand on all the ideas. You just can't do everything at the same time. Just get the base going.
Very true. Well, you answered my third question and the
Oh,
second question, what is a book that you've read most
oh,
recently that's
sorry.
impacted you? No, that's great. 2 for 1, right?
Yeah. It's a really good book. And just so let me elaborate a little bit on that for the third question, I assume. The book is about creating good pitch decks, but
Mm.
the people who wrote it, they have been around so many different kind of pitch decks and so many different kind of companies. So it is very interesting. It's very encouraging to see that, hey, a ton of other people fail and fail and fail just to eventually succeed with it. And I can't say that are we gonna succeed? I can't tell that 100%, but I know for a fact if we don't just stick with it for a very long time, it certainly will not. So, and that book has a very clear sample of these kind of things. It's very interesting.
Oh, that is super cool. I
Yeah,
definitely am interested in that. So thank you for elaborating on that.
absolutely.
And our final question is, if you could rapidly overnight change one aspect of your business, what would it be?
Oh, I changed one aspect of my business overnight. Well, should I say put $1 million in my pocket and let me go out and do some really hardcore pirate marketing?
So funding? Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
funding, fun funding. And that's well. if I could change something overnight, I will definitely 100% change our website as it is now. It's an MVP. It's functional. It can do all the stuff we need it to, but there's
Mhm.
so many more things that we want to do. So eventually, we're gonna build something our own from the ground up. And if I could
Mhm.
have that tomorrow, I'll be very happy.
That is wonderful. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Before we get to our final question for today, how can people find you and get connected with your business?
Well, that's simple. You go to mytrailer.com, and there you have it. If you own a trailer, you can list it. If you want to rent a trailer, I'm sure you can find something in there that suits your needs.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Our final question for today is, what is most inspiring to you today?
Oh, most things to me. Well, I actually went out for a little sales meeting earlier today at a one of the biggest trailer retailers in town, and and as nerdy as it sounds, I actually did enjoy walking around and looking at the hundreds of trailers they have out there. So, um, like a car guy would go into a fancy car shop, I was actually looking at trailers, and that was very inspiring. And I was kind of looking past all this and say, these trailers, get them on the side, get them on the road, make some passive income for people that have their idle assets sitting out there.
Well, that is wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It has been such a great conversation. Thanks for sharing about your business
Well, thank
and
you.
for being on the show today.
Well, thank you so much.